Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of the Gym Owners Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Stone. Over there's John Fairbanks. How are we doing, John?
I'm absolutely incredible, Tyler. Thank you for always
Guys,
asking.
we tried to film this episode last week and I had a total internet meltdown, so we are starting completely over here. I'm not even going to get into how we segued into this stuff last week. We're just going to kind of start a totally new episode here for you. But we talked recently about your gym's identity, right? What specific type of fitness do you have? What type of people do you speak to? And I think that once we've been in fitness long enough, even as a fitness enthusiast, if you're just a fitnesser or a coach, maybe not a business owner, I don't think you realize where your particular type of fitness is positioned in the global perception of what the fitness industry really is and really what people want. And I'm talking about the topic of aesthetics. Okay. Bodybuilding is the larger, as I would suppose would be like one piece of it. But realistically, aesthetic goals are I'd say king. Wouldn't you, John? Like as far as like everybody who wants to get into fitness, I have a really hard time believing that somebody who is a little bit overweight and is sedentary, is eating like shit. Maybe they do want to eat and train to feel better. But like, if you're trying to sell that person on, come on in and we're going to put 30 pounds on your squat, that person doesn't even give a fuck if they squat. They just want to look jacked. And I think that is a piece that we missed. You know, I missed it a lot when I was on a CrossFit affiliate. And we talked to Tyler the other week about this as well, where it's like, you know, where he said, oh, this lady, she did this shit. The first time he ever saw it, she's walking on her hands for like 100 yards. And he's like, I had to figure out how to do it. And I was like, that is 1/1000th of 1% of people sees that and goes, boy, I want to do what that is. Most people go, okay, well, that's not for me. And they, you know what I mean? I'd rather look like that and not have to do that.
Well, and even anecdotally, you know this to be true if you have enough conversations with people, you remember what it was like when you first wanted to get into lifting. And I get the benefit. I posted about it maybe a month or two ago, but it's like, what does an 8-year-old and a 58-year-old male have in common? They both want to get bigger. Like they both, like, it's one of those things where it's like, cause you talk to my 8-year-old or a 9-year-old and he's like, I want big muscles, daddy. And it's like, okay, like, all right, well, let's start kind of building some of these habits of like, and now we can talk about but he wants bigger muscles. He wants the muscles like The Rock, or he wants the muscles like the guys that he's looking at on WWE, whatever it is. So it's like, cool. So now we get to have a conversation about what you eat that helps those muscles. And now we go to the gym, we help those muscles. And I remember talking to a parent, because I deal with a lot of like high school athletes as well. And I remember a parent got really discouraged. He's like, well, we've been paying all this money to take him to this gym, and it's a sports, a sports specific gym. The idea you're coming to train for baseball, right? For X or whatever. And it's supposed to be that specificity. And he goes, at some point, it just was, I really don't think the exercises he's doing is helping him, swing the bat faster, do whatever, right? He was unhappy with his experience. And I remember just asking him, I'm going to go, well, why do you have him going to this gym? And the dad rattled off all these baseball specific things. And the kid was there. So he's in front of me. I said, Connor, what do you really want to be doing? He's like, I'd really like just a bigger chest and like bigger arms. Because the kid, I think I may have talked about him before on the podcast, but he's really into Zach Wilde.
Yeah.
So he got introduced to, but like today's Zach Wilde, not
so
like anorexic
when your
Osbourne.
Guitar god is the jackedest dude around, like that's what's up.
And that's what he wants. So of course it was like, cool. Well, Dad, let's help you better understand. We can help your 16-year-old only wants to lift so he can get a bigger chest and get bigger arms.
That's how we're going to get him in the gym.
And guess what? Then he will swing a bat faster. He'll be stronger. He'll do these things. Like that will happen, but we got to keep him going.
I think there's a lot of what happened, and I saw this come up from, I owned our affiliate and bought, sold, and then was coaching lots of other coaches over the course of a few years after that. In the functional fitness space, everybody get very hoity-toity about like, oh, it's function over form now. Everything is about functionality and what can I do? How can I do the most? Can I build the most work capacity? Can I, and the most mobility? And while all of those stuff are components of what I would describe as fitness, if you will, that's not attracting anyone to your fucking gym. And if it is, you're going to wonder at some point, why aren't people lining up? Why is there not just so many people lining up to come do this, to learn to walk on their hands? And it's like, well, maybe that's like these are circus tricks. Okay.
Right. I was saying, it's
And,
not the circus.
but the idea, like it's not that you have to put form, the appearance of your body. You don't have to put aesthetics over functionality. You don't have to put aesthetics over strength, but that's their goal. So aesthetics is the goal. If I get a fat guy comes in, he wants to look better. Okay. He doesn't understand how far it could really go and how great he could really look, but better looking is how he wants to go. If you get a skinny person who wants to make the sports team, yes, they want to get stronger, but what's the thing they have to do? It's like, yeah, you gotta look like a goddamn athlete here, right? You're gonna get jacked. We are going to put on muscle. And once we realize that aesthetics are probably the number one priority for almost every fitness demographic that we're trying to market to, if we're trying to get people in, it should be, let's get you looking better. And then our specific training methodology, those are the tools that we use to get you there. And as long as we're not the big thing is when we get dogmatic or only put our training methodology first out there, methodology, that just, we skip over the psychology of the potential client, which is, well, I don't care about the importance of mobility. Frankly, I got 30 pounds to lose and I'd like to be fuckable this summer. You know what I mean? Like, can we make this work? And it's like, well, we're going to, and so at some point, I think that those of you out there need to go, if you're in a very specific, type of fitness, I want you to get out there and go to a LA Fit Expo, go to the Arnold convention, just go to one of those expos, the big ones. And you're going to understand that, like, that is not just the bodybuilding and not just the freaky stuff, because we will get into that, the biggest, largest, most famous personalities there. I believe they are so much more attractive to the general population. Your average gym bro knows about supplement brands. Like your average kind of like schmuck who just goes to gym 4 days a week will know about supplement brands because some Instagram, YouTube fitness personality on there is talking about them, or that's the sponsorship deal. That's the only way that they're getting their information, really.
Yeah.
And that's about the pursuit of aesthetics. There's not a ton of people that are in there worried about running their squat up or running their deadlift up or working on their clean and jerk or working on a bunch of this timed stuff. Or even if we're talking endurance, like, God, I really want to run a half marathon. Like, okay. That pitch to people is nuts to me. And I think that we really do miss it. Like we talked last week about the 74% of Americans are overweight or obese. Okay. That's your blue ocean. Okay. You're not getting enough people. There they are. They're in your community. Unless your community is exceptionally more fit than the standard demographic in this country, there's on average 3 out of 4 people in your county are going to have a pretty serious need for some weight loss. Okay. And so just aesthetics, that's not 74. By the way, ask that same poll. How many people do you think wish that they could accomplish putting 30 pounds on their back squat this year? What percent do you suppose would answer yes to that? With the same, you know what I mean? Like, or abs.
Or lose 30 pounds.
Listen, like, I don't want to oversimplify fucking what we do here. We're in the business of abs. And that is kind of it. You can get strong and you can get big, but in the end, even the biggest and strongest, at some point they go, I'd like to not have this big, silly, you know what I mean? You don't want to have this giant, big, barrel-chested, fucking feel miserable because you got strong as fuck just for the sake of getting strong. I've been there. And the whole time, if I could just have had, like, been super lean and have abs with a reasonable amount of muscle, that's what I would have. And you mentioned this the other day. I was asked on a podcast a few years back.
Yes.
The question, which was, would you rather be really strong or look really strong? Of course, I'd rather look really strong. You know how hard it is to be that strong and to eat like that and to train all that? Like, that's not that valuable. Currently now I am so much less strong than I probably was for sure 4 or 5, 6 years ago, for sure. Quite a bit less. I'm also at this point now, we're not going to count today, but we're like 50 to 70 pounds lighter than at my peak strongman weight. Okay.
Yeah.
I have no desire to be that strong again. I am still so much stronger than most of the people that I'm going to come into contact with. What are we trying to do here? And so while I understand there's an idea that it's never strong enough, man, we'll just always be getting stronger. And sure. that sounds like somebody who's never quite gotten that strong. Because at some point you go, I'd like to actually worry a little less about this because it's hard. I'd like to just look awesome. And it all
But
boils down to, in the end, we want to all just be done with our endless pursuit of mass and size, or fucking whatever, your Fran time or your marathon time or your 10K time or whatever the thing is that people get caught up about in fitness, the outcomes. In the end, those are just vehicles to you hopefully looking and feeling the way that you want to feel. And I think physical accomplishment is a part of it. That's what keeps us going. And that, like I said, the things that you do, your training methodology is the tool. The outcome is what people are there for. So if you're out there wondering why you can't get new people and you're showing just like exercises or expertise, fuck, dude. Your expertise better be getting somebody from fat to fitter, or from fit to jacked, or from skinny to swole, or something. There better be some sort of like transition that's happening. Because otherwise, you're just selling exercises. You're selling some methodology, and people don't buy your methodology. They buy the things that you can do for them, the outcomes that they can achieve when they do business with you. And I think we miss that a lot as an industry once we're in it long enough, because you have the things that you believe and the tools that we get obsessed about the tools, right? The exercises, the lifts, the fucking this angle, this, and all of this is actually how you should do it. This 3 days a week. You don't need cardio, or you definitely need cardio. There's all this toss up shit that we're arguing amongst ourselves for, and just shooting ourselves in the foot right in front of clients who are going, which one of you guys can fucking get all this off of me? Christ. And I think it's a huge missed opportunity, and I implore all of you guys to understand, put into perspective, aesthetics is the main goal, and aesthetics is huge. Pumping iron was about one thing: aesthetics.
Yeah.
Really is. I talked about this before. There's three major, I think, revolutions in the fitness industry. Pumping iron is what brought gym culture, bro, like the bodybuilding, like really the pursuit of getting freakishly weird jacked, brought that to the fucking like absolute forefront of culture. Okay, we had that one. I think we also had CrossFit, because that was like a movement rebelling against all of that other stuff, and it still worked. It was a great training methodology. And then we have GLP-1 meds. 2 out of 3 of those are about aesthetics. That's it. And the one that's going to be the most successful one is these GLP-1 meds, because you don't even have to work hard. But at some point now, when these people have the Ozempic face or the fish face, or they all look like they got done with chemo, you have a very nice selling point, which is, hey, you did get the weight off. I don't have to just sell weight loss. I can sell you looking awesome. Okay. And so great, you got the weight loss now, and maybe you wish you looked a little bit different. Perfect. However you wish you looked, that's what we're trying to get you to. And I think that that's a piece that everybody misses, because we all talk about ourselves.
And it's that obsession. And now, speaking from like a marketing standpoint, one of the really common things that gets said across the entire industry of marketing, right? Every single industry that it encompasses and covers over umbrella wise, what you always get warned against is stop focusing on the features. And we've talked about this. You've given great examples over the years where we talk about, like, you're going to go buy a car, right? You cannot, this is going to make your dick bigger. It's going to let you get more chicks, and you're going to be more awesome at everything that you do. It's what is the end result? What's the desired result from using those features? That's what somebody wants. And Hormozy did a good job talking about this years ago, where it was the idea where you're not going to sell the airplane flight to Hawaii. You're selling, once you're there, what's all the fun shit you're going to do, and you're going to tolerate the 10-hour flight and feeling like someone's squeezing your fucking temples like to smithereens. You can't focus on how we're going to do it. It's what is the end result that you're going to get, and we miss it. The smarter you get, and the more you know, the more at risk you really are of making this mistake.
I think we get caught up in this idea that when we're in the fitness industry for long enough, or you've been, not even the industry, when you've just been training long enough, when you've been doing fitness regularly, you have all these boxes that you check that you don't even, consistency, effort, nutrition, diet, discipline, all that stuff. And so what we want to do is we understand that that's what works, right? What works is the journey. Discipline between A and Z. That's what gets us there. These are all the little things that we do here in between along this journey that gets you there, because we're living it every day. Every day I get up and I make a very healthy breakfast, or I don't. and then I'll eat something else. And it's prioritizing protein and weighing food and weighing yourself every day and going to the gym and doing your conditioning. Like all that stuff is stuff that we do we think that's the secret sauce. And while that is the things that you're going to do, that's not that fucking attractive. Okay. So earn somebody's trust, get them to buy in and commit. And then those are the steps you have them take, you fucking idiots. Right? Like, but I do not want to sell that to people. You know how hard it would be for me to be like, hey, listen, all right. I always ask, who's interested in losing 20 pounds this year? Who's interested in losing 50 pounds this year? That's what smokes people out, honestly. Those two questions. That smokes my DMs get very, very, very busy with opportunities when I post that. But when I start posting shit like, you need to weigh like the reasons why you should weigh your food or why calories matter, that nobody fucking cares. Nobody gives a shit. That doesn't inspire them. That doesn't help them take action. And I understand there's a place for a little bit of fluff and some here's how the sausage is made type stuff. And we got to make content. Here's what I'm doing. Here's the things that I do. I'm all about it. But Jesus Christ, show some outcomes. And if you don't have outcomes, just talk about what you're trying to help someone accomplish. The simplest ask that you can make is like, I want a client out there who wants to lose 100 pounds this year. I want like a major transformation. Okay. If you like think that maybe, it's time, let's go. Like I want to get you from fit to not just fat to not just kind of okay. Like we want to really turn this fucking corner. I want to get you more jacked than you've ever fucking imagined, but you got to commit now. Like this is what we're going to do. That starts to attract people. If I go to an overweight person and I just start telling them like, boy, you're going to be like fucking pretty hungry a lot. And all the stuff you like to eat, kiss it goodbye. Like that's it's just not appealing. So to someone who doesn't exercise and you're like, here's what we do. We set a timer and we jump on boxes and do pull-ups and then we fucking deadlift for time, as many reps as we possibly can do. And then we go run around the block and then we just do that over and over and over and over again. You're like, I don't want to do that. Okay. I want the outcome. You can trick me into doing that when you've already sold me on the outcome. And I think that that's your job. Like, I don't know. I see us missing it a ton. And I think it's very interesting to see the rise of these super huge internet personalities that come from the aesthetics world, bodybuilding, or just generally aesthetics. Sam Sulek, you got the Trend Twins, plus you have all the classics, your Bradley Martins and all those people. These are industries in and of themselves now. These things, and yes, it's just internet thirst and fucking internet game, the viral game, but that is the stuff that people are tuning into. Everything else is too specific. It's too inside baseball to get people from outside. So much like we talked about the CrossFit Games and the competitive sport of CrossFit is a great retention tool for CrossFit HQ. It's not that good. It's actually probably cuts their own throat in regards to attracting new people and growing the base of people who are doing CrossFit. That's probably really working against them a lot. In regards to the aesthetic stuff, everybody finds their way through it. You know why? Because Sam still looks a nice guy. He's just trying to get jacked. And he's making videos forever and ever and ever and ever. And it's not about the format. His rise is such an interesting one. It was just a dude doing his stuff, a young guy, not trying to be an expert, not trying to be overly boisterous, just making like 60 to 90-minute videos like every day, just when he'd go to the gym or driving to and from the gym. Here's what I'm doing. Just classic vlog stuff. And now most of the content you're seeing that's just saturating the internet with him, about him, it's not even him making it now. And that's when you've turned the corner. It's everybody else taking clips from your stuff because it gets the views. And now you're an institution in and of yourself.
And back in the day, right? Like Arnold, he had to get, because he talks about it in his series that was on Netflix, came out a couple years ago, where he got a publicist. And then that publicist helped him because the whole goal was to build the world of bodybuilding and make it more accessible to people. And that's when he's getting on Carson and he's going on the dating shows. And then eventually you have I remember that what blew me away when I was watching it was the dude that, I can't remember, with the contemporary artist that was a total freak that made all the Marilyn Monroe pictures and the Campbell soup. Warhol, right? So they show Warhol coming to an art exhibit, which is just Arnold standing in the middle of a fucking circle and flexing. But this idea where it was it definitely started to get into the zeitgeist, but you had to do all of those steps to be able to kind of get front and center. And now because of the way algorithms work, and like YouTube shorts, and they just keep feeding you. Once you've been identified as a dude that likes weightlifting, even for a second, it'll start feeding you. And that's how I found so fuck, what's his name?
Sam Sulek.
Sam Sulek. So I saw one of his first pieces of content that was him just after like a gnarly pump, and he's in the middle of like a boardroom, but it's a green screen boardroom, and he's just talking about like how fucking sick pumped his legs are. He's like, I'm really content with how I look. Like I can only imagine when I'm 280 pounds, like right when I weigh myself in the morning, and I'm just like, that's all. Like but everybody from 12, 13-year-old kids that are like, how do I do biceps curls better or whatever? And they start getting into those algorithms. They are being fed. The first time I ever heard of the Trend Twins was from a 13-year-old lifter. He's like, do you know who the Trend Twins are? And he's like showing me all the videos and stuff. And he's just like, I want to look like those guys. Like it just was that was it.
And I think that's the important thing, is not that what the content that these people are delivering is valuable. It's not. It's not sellable. What are you going to buy from Sam Sulek? What are you going to buy? He'll eventually, I think he's even pushed off taking supplement sponsorships, because it's likely he'll eventually pivot to having his own line, which is what a lot of these people, once they get big enough, they do. But they make a fuckload of money selling supplements and doing appearances and all this stuff. But it's not about the content that they're making being ultimately valuable or something. Nobody's trying to create a bunch of intellectual property, right? Trend Twins aren't selling seminars. They're not going to try to get you to sign up for their fucking school course or whatever the next bullshit scam pyramid shit people are running is. Okay, that's not what we're doing anymore. Okay, nobody's trying to buy online courses anymore. Give it up. It's okay. Just move the fuck on. And now you need to understand, like, how do I get people in to do the thing? Okay, and notice, take the things that these people are building celebrity. Okay. And celebrity is a thing that is not for you as a gym owner. You're a brick and mortar business. First off, start there. Okay. But you have to understand that the reason so many people are attracted to this stuff is why. It's just about the aesthetics. It catches the eye. It's like, oh, these guys are getting jacked. That is interesting. And it's such a wide, vast market that, like, if you just show Sam Sulek's fucking dude in a hat, look with frumpy fucking hair, just looking straight up, jacked, okay, but talking like a normal person, it is a little bit relatable, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I like that guy, and he's jacked, and it draws you in. It's not an accident that these people became famous. Now a guy like Sam Sulek with that personality doing powerlifting and only powerlifting, is it as compelling? I don't know. I just don't think there's as many eyes that are interested in him talking specifically about his squat, or that afterwards he wasn't like, it wasn't constantly about aesthetics. Okay. If it's just about performance, or even 80-20 about the performance of what he's doing, not the outcomes, it's not nearly as interesting. It's not nearly as compelling. And this vast market of, let's just pretend there's a billion people floating around on these social media apps, like collective, it might be more, but like, now there's enough to float to the top. There's enough interest where this can still float to the top and be successful. If he's doing that in strongman, well, there's a lot shallower pool of people who are going to take their interest in that all the way to the end, and like really like start to follow and take interest in a person. Mm-hmm. So the Arnold thing, though, I think was interesting, because that now became this thing where people realized they could get that jacked. If you, like, back when Pumping Iron came out, you're like, I didn't realize, people are like, I had no idea that existed in the world. And there's a lot of places where people won't ever see anybody that looks particularly huge or swole. Like, do you remember the standards of what used to be jacked back in the day? I think Tanner and them talked about this on Massonomics recently, but the characters in movies that used to be known as like the big jacked guys, if you go back and look at this now, you're like, what the fuck? Do you remember when Hugh Jackman was first Wolverine? Hugh Jackman in your psyche has been fucking ripped ever since he was Wolverine, right? In everyone's head, they're like, oh my God, his body was so jacked. Guys, the standard has elevated so high right now. You go look at the first 2, maybe 3 appearances he's had as Wolverine, and he looks like, I'm not going to say average, because average around here is 40 pounds overweight, but he looks like it's a fucking standard physique of a guy that might lift. And to eat something.
Oh yeah, especially that first one, the first X-Men. He's like just a regular skinny guy, just in the cage.
What was the other one? There was another good one too. Oh, a great movie. Remember the movie Heavyweights? The
Yeah.
Ben Stiller fat camp movie, right? John grew up a fat kid. He knows that movie. Yeah.
Heavyweights was a regular.
But Hans, the guy who I think was supposed to be there, like this, I think his name was Hans, the big, he was like a Eastern European. I think he was Austrian or German. And he was
Yeah.
supposed to be this like Arnold stand-in, right? Like,
Sure.
he had the accent and everything. And
Oh yeah.
I remember watching and going, yo, shit, that guy's jacked. He must be, it's like scary how jacked that guy is. Go back and look up that fucking guy now. You're like, never mind. Absolutely never mind. And I think it's important that I don't want to use it. I'm using the term aesthetics, not the term bodybuilding, because bodybuilding is the sport, or I think the pursuit that maybe takes it a bit further, right? Like, I don't believe that some of these insanely enormous physiques are appealing or interesting to the average person. But almost everything on the pathway from generally fit to that is on the table, right?
Oh yeah.
Don't you agree? Yeah. Like, I mean, there's a reason that even, even like my sister, who is never a gym, she's an athlete, but never like a gym person, not just like a lift to lift person. Maybe 10 years ago, she went, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to start to get shape. I'm going to diet down, and I'm going to, in 6 months, I'm going to sign up for a, whatever they call it, women's fitness or physique, whatever the girls on stage thing is, right? The hair and butt contests, basically.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, that is more interesting to her to someone off the street. Is I would like to look so lean and jacked and fit that I am able to get on stage and be that confident and just have that be the display, right? More so, probably more likely to pursue that than to go, I want to compete in exercising. Right? I don't think that, like, if someone's not doing gym, it'd be like, I'd rather look so good I'm confident to be tan and in public with my shirt off or whatever for a guy than, like, I'd like to, exercise super hard for 5 hours one day. Yeah, fuck, dude. I don't. That's the competitive exercising is its own. It's its own animal. Any of these contests, whether it's powerlifting or strongman, I think that's a great little benchmark to have if you want to pursue that type of stuff. But there is such a narrow interest globally on that stuff. And so, again, if you're trying to attract people, how many fucking dollars are you stepping over to pick up a dime?
Well, and there is a point with those where it is a point of diminishing returns. So the same way where, like, whatever the most extreme version of that thing is, use the bodybuilding, which is you really have a safe place where you can attract people and really bring people kind of into that world. But eventually, once we get to the Mr. Olympia, they're now going to actually deter.
Yeah.
To be like, wait a second. I don't want to look like, wait.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great example, because just like if I showed somebody, we're going to diet down, we're going to use all these principles to build muscle, but the whole time I had like the giant mass monsters who are up there, like that's the goal. Nobody is gravitating towards that. No. Nobody. I mean, no, like talking just the lowest percentage. And I think that's the same thing. If I try to teach kids about, I want you to get a little stronger, and there's nothing worse someone needs to see. There's nothing that would be more damaging for a young athlete to see after they've been training hard for 2 years. They made tons of progress, and they're benching 200 pounds, right? And they got a 250 pounds, 280 pounds on their squat. And they're moving good and building some muscle. They're still kids, And then the worst thing I could do is show, that's my friend Dan. He squatted 1,050 pounds for a double.
Yeah.
Look, he's gonna fucking be like, what the fuck? Also, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to. How long does that's the shit that can almost make you discourage you from it, and that can discourage someone who's already in to the thing. Like, oh, and the internet does this now. This is comparison is the thief of joy, and I think that is the thing that happens is people are always going to compare themselves from wherever they are in their journey, whether it's the couch, whether it's their first day, whether it's their first month or their first year or their fifth year. The internet puts all this comparison stuff in front of you. Like, oh, you like CrossFit now? Perfect. Here's the fittest on earth. And it's like just juiced up broads with fucking ab veins and the types of delts that men only get when they take steroids, And it's like, what the fuck? And that is, I think sits at the centerpiece of it all. It's like we cannot always be spotlighting the elite, the outcomes of the elite, to inspire the normal people. Because again, if I need to inspire someone to become elite, Yes. Right. If I had a young kid who wants to be a quarterback, I would like him to study Tom Brady, the way he trains, the way he thinks, the way all of this stuff. Right. I want him to, you should aspire to be that good if you want to be the best quarterback in the world. But if you're a guy who does not want to be the best quarterback in the world, if you're just a guy who's sitting on the couch and wants to lose some flab, maybe you just need to get a little bit inspired about the next few things you need to do, which is I'd like to lose this 20 pounds and look better. I know that if I look better, I'll feel better. And while that may not always entirely be true, kind of is. Don't let anybody.
80% of the way.
80% sure. of them, dude. And then trust me, for the other 20%, like if you don't look better, are you just going to magically feel better? No. So you should try some shit. If you're not happy with the way you look and you're not happy overall, it's like, get your fucking ass fine. Get your ass in shape. And worst case scenario, if that doesn't make you happy, you know what you can do? Try something else while you're in shape. And trying other things opens up a lot better opportunities when you look fucking good. And you'll feel better. Fucking, I have such a hard time trying to like talk my way around that shit to people. Cause sometimes when I want to advertise for not Your and I's project, but my clients, my personal training clients and weight loss clients, all I want to say is you'd hate yourself a lot less if you weren't so fucking fat, dude. You know what I mean? Like for real. God damn. Imagine getting up every morning and going, nice. Like imagine that. Like that, those are the things that people actually want. It's like, God, I would just like to not have this. I would like the shirts that I fucking wore when I was, first married to be able to fit. I kept them all. And every once in a while I put one on and all this pudge hangs out the bottom and it's disgusting. And yeah, like that's the reality of the people. So try to sell that person on performance or even the term fitness. What fitness isn't, no. This is fatness. It needs to go. Yeah. The fatness, we're deleting fatness. I don't care about your fitness thing. I don't care about your workouts. I don't care about whatever. I want this to go away. And people are so, I think, repulsed by a lot of the standard tropes in fitness marketing now. That's one of the reasons that now these GLP-1 medications are, so popular. Obviously, they were going to be popular. But people are doing it in lieu of exercise because it's like, I don't even want to be fit. I just want the fat gone. That's a pretty serious vote in that fucking department there, if you ask me.
For sure. And I think that the principle that you really bring up, which is the idea of like, because of social media and the idea of comparing ourselves, is that the most approachable piece. What do certainly most guys that I talk to, they always talk about, this is what I weighed in high school. Like it's when I was a senior in high school, this is what I weighed, or this is my pant size, or this is my shirt size. And so you almost get to be able to have the ability where it's, what is someone looking at? What are those things that they are comparing themselves to right now? And then that is where then that's your guiding. That's your North Star most immediately for what you want to do work with. Because what are they comparing themselves to? And because we know psychologically this continues forever. So we talk about the lifetime journey and the fitness journey that an average person has. All you do is just change your sights. Like at some point for me, for as long as I'm lifting, I'm like, I just want to look like Bane. Like that's all I want, right? Like at some points and so that's where it's like so it grows all the way to where I just want to be able to be in the same pair of pants that I was wearing when I was in high school. That's a lot of guys. And you use the example of, I just want to be able to get back to where I was when I first got married. Yeah. And I think that's so much more approachable.
Well, and I think, and we're also going to need to take, this is why I think it's important to actually connect yourself to somebody's why, right? And I don't like getting in all of this fucking preachy, like it's in your soul, what you really want. Why? It's because of your kids. It's like, it's fucking not. It's not. You got fat and you had fucking kids. You got fat for 15 fucking years. You had kids. That didn't stop you. Okay. Let's not pretend like this is about your longevity. Let's get fucking jacked. If we can get you keyed in on there. But for lots of other training goals, if I get a kid who's got sports in the fall and we're going to train them all spring and summer, how's this going to look? Okay. And I'm going to have to assess like, okay, the thing that they want to do is football. Perfect. And I look at them and I go, you are 145 pounds. There is not a place on any football team anywhere in the world for you at 145 pounds, buddy. So first thing we're going to do is fix your skinny. That's the thing that we're going to do throughout this whole thing. You will get stronger because of that. But that's now how I have to attach this. Football, perfect. You can't play football at 145 pounds. It sucks, dude. So like, we're gonna start eating. We're gonna start lifting. We're gonna get you strong. We're gonna make sure you're still explosive. We're not gonna make you fucking slow. We're gonna maintain your athleticism. But we're gonna go like you. It's always the first two things. One of the first two things I usually have to deal with people that actually have some progress to be made. Does that make sense? People who aren't so close to their goals, right? Who have some real distance to cover. For the most part, I either have to fix your skinny or I have to fix your fat. That's it. So many times, John, when we would get people, you know, when we were, especially overseas, when I was coaching coaches and specifically lots of CrossFit people, again, CrossFit coaches and CrossFit athletes in those groups, and they're like, oh, I have this problem here and I have this problem here. When I do this, my shoulder, or then my back and my hips, and it's like, you're fucking skinny, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Have you thought, like, you know what I mean? It's like part of this is because you're weak.
Mm-hmm.
It's it, just weak. So I can like zoom all in on your fucking shoulder and make this whole thing about this one little microscopic thing. So your whole identity will go around this injury, much like somebody that just gets a diagnosis and now they can hang their hat on all their excuses on that fucking hook for the rest of their fucking life. I'm not going to let you do that. You want your back hurts? You're probably not fucking strong enough to be doing any of the shit you're doing. At least not strong enough around there. So what we're going to do is put on some real fucking muscle without causing you fucking pain. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to fix your fucking skinny and I'm going to fix the fact that you're fucking weak. We're going to cross that bridge and then we're going to see what's on the other side. From there, we'll continue to go. But I'm not going to continue to let a skinny, weak, frail person complain about all the problems that they're having from being skinny, weak, and frail. We fix this, or you go somewhere else. I'm not going to fucking deal in your little delusions where you just want to come in and have the whole moment about your injury and all your special circumstances all the time. We're not fucking playing this shit. If people got a lot of fat to lose, I don't care about any single other thing other than getting this fat off of you as quickly as possible, by the way. I have really come around on the pace a lot. I think the worst thing that we do as coaches is try to slow roll people out. When they get there, you don't have to adopt this, by the way. This is just me preaching. Some coaching shit. It has nothing to do with your business, but and you can disagree with this. You absolutely can, by the way. But I've coached for, it's almost 10 years now, and I was very much that, man, if you get half pound a week, I just want to slowly get you going. Let's make some little changes here, and then we have this sustainable system. The problem is their commitment time. It's limited in the beginning anyways. And if it's not rewarding, it's just not really rewarding enough to just go for a month and see 3 pounds off. It's just not. So right. I think it's important that you deliver in the beginning, and maybe that because there are habits that need to change, that maybe we not allow them to be delusional about their bullshit all the fucking time. It's like, listen, you're still eating like a fat fuck all the fucking time. What? Yeah, no fucking wonder. How about we just you came in to get the fat off? Do you want to take 2 years to get the fat off? Or do you want to get this done? We can get this done in 6 months. It's just going to be harder. But do you want to actually accomplish this? Like, is the outcome the thing? You can have those conversations early on. And I really believe that then they have momentum. Then they've seen results. It's been a long time, John, since you and I were single men. But I can tell you this. You meet a new girl, you like her. You take her out to dinner. Take her out to dinner again. You're being a gentleman. Go to a movie. A week later, you go out again and again. And again, and they're nice. You have a nice time. But at some point, how many months are you going to do this before you get any? You know what I mean? At some point, is there anything happening with this? No? Am I just feeding you? Christ. Okay. Like I came here for something. That's not the only thing, but I came here for something and I'm leaving fucking just Jesus Christ. What's happening here? So at some point, guys, for us as coaches, you got to put out some results. Okay. I think that's important. But
you have to address it, right? Like but it's like you're avoiding that. Because at some point, because this is also what's crazy, even maintaining your example of going out on a date where there needs to be an effort to progress the relationship a little bit further towards like stop pretending like there isn't a transaction, right? And that's one of those things where a lot of times I feel like I'll see coaches or I'll see people position it and we don't even want to address the elephant in the room. And at some point, you do need to address it, which is at least we're all now on the same page, which is this needs to be fixed. And that's always where we've called out where in the fitness industry, as coaches and as gym owners, if you have someone that's 50 pounds overweight and you continue to allow them to pay you and you continue to provide a service and they are not, you're just not addressing the fact that, hey, your knees hurt or your back hurts because you got 50 pounds to lose, well, then you're stealing.
Yeah.
And that's theft.
And I know that there's a longer process to this because I've been there before. We have some people that are in their own way. They're difficult, or they'll, you know, the tricky thing is you can't, this is the inverse of what I'm talking about here. You can't reposition or redirect somebody's goals completely. Someone comes in and says, I want to get jacked. And you go, perfect. We're going to teach you how to fucking barbell snatch. Slow the fuck down here, buddy. Right? That's not what we're here to do. Right? So if I get somebody, I won't go into too much specifics, but I've had a client in the past who was like, yeah, I need to lose weight. I have a kind of health crisis. Like, perfect. So we get a bunch of weight off, like 50, 60 pounds. And then slowly weight starts coming back on. And every 5 or 10 pounds, it's just this like, I feel like I'm leaner though than I was before. I feel like I'm leaner. You're not. Sometimes I won't have the argument because I'm not going to push back on it every day. But about every couple of weeks, I go, I don't think you are. I said, we can do a body composition. I think we should let's get more data. Let's get more. That's fine. If you're reason to think it's okay to put on an extra 20 pounds now, like if you think that that's okay because you're leaner, let's prove it. I said, because if this is based on your feelings and how you feel that you feel leaner, that doesn't really mean fuck all because you can feel your way back to 345 pounds again, buddy. Like, it's not what we're doing. I'm not doing this. So I don't know what to say. And that ends up being like the hard conversations you have to have. But again, I couldn't, if that person is saying, well, I'm not worried about getting leaner anymore. I want to, whatever. It's like, well, I either will choose to pull the plug because I'm not going to participate in that bullshit because you're just literally just being delusional and lazy and all this bullshit, all the same shit. But I can't sit here and go, no. Your goal is weight loss. I'm forcing you. If you don't want to do it, I'm not going to fucking do it. No different than I couldn't convince that person to work on endurance. Like if I couldn't force his goal to be his 5K time, if he didn't want to run a fucking 5K, doesn't have, there's no way that I can be like, no, this is the thing you need to do. And so that's sometimes clients just aren't for you. But again, if you want clients that are for you and you can like really have some impactful work, fucking aesthetics is a big one. And by the way, I always jump on weight loss as the easiest low hanging fruit, and it is. But you can get weight loss clients by also going like reasonably jacked people too. Like your marketing can be, it can be people with abs, right? You can show someone who went from fat or just chubby or skinny or whatever to like pretty ripped. Like you got clients that are jacked. Okay. Get a good testimonial, good before, after. Just fucking let that shit rip. People love that shit. And I'll tell you what, they like that a lot more than they're going to like that person halfway in talking about all the work that they had to do or workouts. Do you remember Jim's posted workouts of the day, John? Every day. Jesus Christ.
I used to help people pay, Tyler.
People paid you to do this.
Me to post it for them because they had to get the wad out for the day and they didn't have the time or the energy to do it. So they literally outsourced something that I promise you did not make them any fucking money at all.
No, it's like just used to post. And then by the way, then people just get used to it. The algorithm gets used to people ignoring the uninteresting shit that you're posting.
Yep.
I mean, it's not even about the likes or engagement. People don't even look twice at it. Understand the algorithms on these social medias are time and how long you hover. They're tracking your eyes. Trust me. You may not think that they are, but they absolutely are. They know what you're looking at. And there is fucking absolutely zero interest in anybody from a list of workouts. It's from a gym. It's crazy. You got one thing like, I have this challenge I want you to try to do. People might like it, but posting your workouts regularly is fucking nuts. Just nuts.
There's a principle from Sam Sulek that I like as well, because it was the announcement that Sam Sulek won, right? A classic physique contest, right? He won. He won. He entered. It was his first one.
I believe so. I think it's first time on stage.
And so what I like about that principle is this idea, and it's a little bit Gary V-ish from like way back in the day, which is the idea that you're just supposed to document the journey.
Yeah. Like
you're just documenting what you do. And this is where I feel like a lot of folks, you will put up these artificial barriers, you'll put up these glass ceilings, and they're self-imposed. And oftentimes it's going to come from, if you are an honest person and you are trying to do the right things, it's the opposite of a charlatan and a snake oil salesman, where you have that imposter syndrome a little bit, where if you are a personal trainer or you're a gym owner, it's like, well, we haven't really done this before, or we've never executed this, or maybe I haven't done this. And so what you end up doing is either you half-heartedly or you never get out of the thinking stage, which is we really should provide some nutrition coaching, provide, right, fill in the blank, whatever you know is empty or is not there, it's a gap. You've done enough work to identify that we're not looking at this, and this probably is a problem. We should do something about it. But then that nagging voice in the back of your mind will stop you because you haven't achieved whatever artificial bullshit thing that you have told to yourself for why you can't start to pursue it and move the ball in this particular avenue. And what I like about it is that I never asked, as I watched Sam talk about in his videos and talk about his experience lifting, I never was like, well, how many times has this guy won Mr. Olympia? Does he have his pro card? I never asked those things because guess what? People they don't care. They don't care. But he was able to create that shit, build a following. So now we like the individual because, oh God, it's so fundamental, which is people want to do business with people. You're going to be their personal trainer because they like you. You will lose someone early, like way before you'll ever have the opportunity to really like get them any real results because they just don't fucking like you or you don't like them. That's way more realistic and will be way more common than you just haven't achieved something for somebody. Like they didn't get the goals or they didn't hit the things that they wanted to hit.
Exactly. Now on it's one of the things I think about especially the Sam Sulek things. It's also a person who's about it, really about it.
Yeah.
Okay. You can tell. And that's the big difference that I see. I think there's a lot of the gyms that have problems attracting people. Are you an imposter? I don't know what to say. Maybe. Like, can people just smell it on you when they look at you? Oh, this person doesn't even look good, or this person doesn't speak with any real. You can tell when somebody doesn't understand. Like if you're the target audience, McDonald's knows who you are. Okay, right? McDonald's, when they're saying this stuff like, come on down and get the Shamrock Shake. It's 99 cents. We're going to spit in your fucking mouth. Who gives a fuck? They're not trying to be anything they're not. They know exactly who you want. Drive through 30 seconds or less. It's cheap and it sucks. And it works. It fucking works because they know exactly who you are and they know exactly how to talk to you. And if you're trying to talk to people, one, about stuff they don't care about, they don't care about you because you can't do anything for them. If you're trying to talk to, and I say talk to people, I'm saying in your marketing, your messaging, your copywriting, everything, all these communications. And if you're trying to talk to people about, say, aesthetics or weight loss goals, and they can, okay, you are talking to me about the thing. They can look and go, oh, this person has no empathy, no understanding. You can tell. They can tell. You can just tell, like never mind. This person doesn't even understand where I'm at all. No thanks. And people can smell it on you. The other thing is, if you're not actually about that fit life yourself, it's another huge one. It's like if you're just doing gym to have gym, like, well, there's just people are going to go in, people who want to pursue, I would say, higher levels of fitness, elite fitness, or the more extreme, what's the word? Higher levels of achievement than just the standard transformation stuff. Someone who comes in and maybe is fit and I want to compete, or I want to, I'm already kind of got some shit, but I want coaching to take me to the next level. They're going to know right away you can't fucking do that for them because you are a poser. Not you. These people are poser. And they're going to know that right away. Like, all right, well, this guy's not fucking for real at all. No chance. And then now you've literally lost the elite potential to coach elite athletes or whatever. And you've lost the potential to connect to regular fucking people with regular people goals. And that's where you're stuck in this limbo. So you can be about fitness, get yourself jacked, accomplish just be doing it, but make sure that you're helping people. Like you need to look the part. You need to speak like you know what these people are going through and speak like you know what their next process needs to be. But, you need to be taking them towards goals that matter to them. And someone comes in and wants aesthetics and they, I have a female client. It's like, she's like, okay, she's finally got her diet stuff dialed in. It's like, I kind of want to get abs now by summertime. I was like, sweet. we're already on the way. We'll just tighten up the diet stuff a little bit. We'll just keep getting stronger. I'll probably add a little more, like just some heavier lifting for like the overall just like load on your body and on your core. Everything else is going to be just diet. Keep working hard. That's pretty much it. So we'll dial in the diet. We'll make a couple other changes. But now this person's like kind of excited actually about the opportunity to squat a little heavier, to do a little more extra, like longer form cardio as well. The little pieces that she needs to add, she's adding. And so now that works really well because it's attached to the outcome that she wants. John, I mentioned the idea of running to this client about a year and a half ago when I had started running, because that's all she thought she needed to do beforehand. She just hated it. So I told her my thing. I said, just run as slow as you can. And she'd go in and she'd try. And she said, I ran for 3 minutes and then I'd walk and then I'd run for 3 minutes, walk. I said, that's great that you showed up there, did that. But just run slower for 10 minutes than 3. You know what I mean? You're running so fast. All you're teaching yourself is that it's hard and you need to pull it back. So just slow it way the fuck down. But it never really clicked then because we weren't there. Then the diet stuff starts working. There's a little more momentum. She kind of recommitted to the diet stuff. And all of a sudden now it's like she's down 15 pounds, didn't have a ton of weight to lose necessarily. It's like lean, getting jacked. And it's like, okay. Now she goes, can I get fucking abs? I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Let's go. Now I can be like, anything I throw at, because the abs is there. It's just right around the corner. And so now she's running like 4 or 5 days a week and lifting heavy and dieting hard and like embracing the work of it, because the outcome was, we were always taking her towards the outcome that she determined that she wanted. That's it. That's all I can do. And know that I was never, ever. Oh yes. Let me make this point too. During this time, this is a person who has had like some knee pain, hip pain, and tons of mobility requirements. This person's a dance instructor. So it's like about tons of very, very high level stuff, constantly testing and leveling up coaching certifications. So this is one of the more interesting coaching challenges that I've had, because there's this blend of aesthetics and performance and mobility and injury prevention and then workload when the time comes up. It's very interesting coaching problems to solve. She came to me just to like go get a little bit stronger, kind of, and to hopefully, stop gaining fat. That just happens as you get into your early 30s, right? So we kind of stopped that stuff. But during this time, guess what? Mobility's better. Knee pain's gone. There's no shoulder pain. Fixing tons of stuff around the neck. All those things I can solve are secondary problems. So stop selling this other shit as though it's the other shit. This person came in to lose a little weight, so we started working on it. Okay, that's just it. We did the things that worked, and then the weight comes off. And guess what? In that process, I could do all the things I do as a coach. Let's not hurt you. What hurts? Let's work around it. Let's try to train in ways that'll help build around this to make that better. Oh, you need more mobility for this? Perfect. We're going to do this. But those are all little things. The last thing I want to do is try to get that person to hire me because I'm here to improve mobility. What the fuck? Who fucking cares? Even though that's important to her, that's not going to get me a year and a half of personal training from a person. Not at all. Not even close.
And if you don't get any of the wins, even early on, even if in your mind you always knew that abs were possible, but it was never something that was like, oh, we're going to drive you towards, because I think you can do this thing eventually one day. That's not what you're leading with. You've done this in the right order, and the order really, really is what matters. And you got them early wins so that you get the opportunity to continue to work with someone to continue to achieve future goals that they don't even know that they have yet.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a big piece where we all can do this really well with our clients, or at least you should be. But this is the exact same mentality, which is, what are the early wins we can get? What is the lowest hanging fruit that can allow you to be able to start to feel like you are making progress? These are principles that are going to work for what you and I do with our one-on-one clients for gym owners and personal trainers that work with us now on the business side. It's you've just laid out like the exact game plan that we run with our one-on-one clients. It's what's the lowest hanging fruit? What's the most obvious things that need to get fixed so we can start getting momentum and we kind of can get this train moving. And then with momentum, now we can start to do the fun shit.
Yeah.
But the fun shit isn't even possible. We don't even get to talk about it, because otherwise it sounds like what we can do really easily, which is we can drag you out into deep water and we can overwhelm you with all the possibilities and avenues and things that can be done. but that will just cause their brain to melt and then you'll quit.
You cannot just saturate people, whether it's business or otherwise. You cannot just oversaturate people with work.
Right.
Just give them chores and effort, work, show up here, eat less, eat more, go, for the business side, you got all these emails, all this stuff. We got to go through all this. I need notes. You need this, pull this. It ends up just being a lot of shit. It's like, okay. Let's make this first bit, because when we're going from doing nothing to doing something, like, let's make this first bit real fucking efficient use of our time. The lowest hanging fruit, done. Perfect. We free up some time. That way it's not everything is a net effort expenditure. And that's the big thing that I do when I get people in for personal training as well. It's like, guys, now you're going to go from doing all the things you normally did, but now you're going to work out 4 days a week more, and you're going to meal prep, and you're going to check in with me and all the things you like to do, you don't get to do anymore. That's a fucking hard sell. So you kind of got to package it. But by the way, you can get somebody to that point pretty fucking quick with some very early, very quick wins that reinforces these big steps, these little steps that they're taking, and will incentivize them to take huge steps. Speaking of coaching, I got to get going, guys. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you next week. Follow the show at the Gym Owners Podcast on Instagram. It is Gym Owners Podcast without the T on X, and follow John at JBanksFL and me at Tyler Effenstone, Tyler EFF Ironstone. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.